I think that for me, it's been a game changer in how I manage the office and how I'm able to get through all of my patients in the day. It's taken something that's usually a fairly arduous process for patients and front office staff and back office staff and streamlined it. So everything is the same every time, which means that, putting a system in place, then people manage the system and the system runs. So for us, when we're seeing 40 or 50 patients a day, everybody's getting the same consent form, the same treatment plan, the same health history form, and the process is the same for each patient. So we're not looking for loose sheets of paper anywhere. We're not trying to figure out who did it, who didn't do it. It's just the same streamlined, automated process for every single patient. So that makes a big difference, 40, 50 patients a day, that makes a big difference. Well, I think there's a simplicity factor to it. I mean, we're all instant gratification now with all of our smartphones. So we're so used to doing everything in that fashion on a smartphone, click a link and put your information. I think that mConsent's process for signing in to do paperwork feels the same as patients are used to in their daily lives. So I think it gives them comfort in knowing that they're just doing the same thing that they do everywhere else. And then with the encryption options and birthday options and guarantor options, they know that their data is going somewhere safe and protected. So they're much more inclined to be compliant with what we ask them to do because it feels familiar. And I think that changes how patients interact with something. So we actually have that happen a lot in our office. So we have a very large ethnic population for Latino last names, Indian last names, multiple first names. And so spelling can oftentimes be a problem. And I think that being able to get spelling corrected for patients into Dentrix right away, even if we make a typo, it automatically asks, is this the correct name? Is this the correct birthday? My own name is one that gets misspelled a lot. And I like that the software talks to Dentrix and is able to identify that, hey, there's an issue. Which version would you like to collect? That means that we don't have as many problems in rejected claims for insurance too, which in a practice of our size means a lot. So when I first started 4.5 years ago, 20 patients a day, health history is 5 pages, registration is 4 pages, and then all of the other forms that go with it, plus consent forms and treatment plans, it was 35 or 40 pages of paper per patient. Now we're talking about an iPad that recharges itself at the desk. So my overall paper product and toner product volume has gone down significantly, which means that we're being good for the environment too, because we're not just burning through paper. I also don't have as many staff. I'm able to have more focused, dedicated staff because I don't need an administrative person to just manage paperwork. Offer higher salaries to better train, more highly qualified individuals because I don't have to have just a secretary to do paperwork. Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that's been really great through the whole process is how much support that we get from the customer service team, yourself in particular, to be able to get things up and running with Dentrix and understanding, Dentrix updates constantly. And so being able to get things updated and get the process worked out, it's been pretty smooth. I think that there's probably been more times that it's somebody else's software issue than it's mConsent software issue actually, because of how often you guys are updating and making sure that it communicates with Dentrix. And then it works well in the Dentrix features because everything auto loads into the doc center. It auto loads into the patient file. So enabling us to be able to communicate directly between the two software dashboards means that we have less things to do as well, because we can trust that it's just going to integrate. It just pushes through into the service and it shows up, and the delay is minimal, which I think means that the communication works well between the two. So. I mean, I think that when you're looking at any software package and any adjunct software that you're adding on, you want to see what a return on investment is going to be to the office. And so I think in being able to communicate with patients and family members, and for us, especially new patients. So we do all of our new patient paperwork goes out either through text or email communication. So I think it gives us a longer reach, if that's a good way to explain it, out into the patient community, because we can just go based off of, a text message onto the website that says, hey, I'd like an appointment, what services do you have? And so oftentimes, especially as we've added more services to the practice, it's not even always sending out patient-specific paperwork. Sometimes it's sending informational flyers about the office or informational services, like my office in particular, we just added Botox. So being able to reach out to a patient base or patients that have inquired about aesthetic services using mConsent's features, knowing that it stays in the module, it retains the data that's there so that when we do receive that patient as a patient, everything imports over. I think it gives us a longer reach to patient bases because We can just use a phone number or an email to reach out to patients. And then the big project actually that I'm using mConsent software for right now is we had an office near us close, and we negotiated and we were able to purchase those patients and bring them into our practice. And so we have a CSV file of phone numbers, names, and email addresses of about 700 patients. The fastest way to get everybody a letter and know that they're getting it, it's been received, and that they can acknowledge that they've received it is actually the mConsent document software. I know exactly that every one of those 700 patients is getting that letter. So that's made it possible for me to reach out and know that I've gotten in contact with a person, not just that my email is out in the world somewhere. So I think it's a great way for us to use the tool, and it's something that in the past we wouldn't have considered doing, but it was a great way to use it this go round to ensure that we could communicate with new patients. I think that the biggest thing for me has been how much customer support I've been able to get from within mConsent community. That for me is a big thing. I have a lot of software companies, a lot of technology in the office, and my time is short. So being able to get someone on the phone, get a text message, get follow-up calls right away makes my job easier. I don't have on-site IT, which means I'm the on-site IT person. So when something's not working and my staff is frustrated, being able to dial a number or send a message and have a response from a person, and I don't have to go through, level 1, level 2, level 3. Oh, let me transfer to you someone that can remote into your system. There's just a support person that's there to help fix the problem. And I think that that is what sets apart any service or any company that we use, being able to have that instant service. Again, we're a busy practice, we have a lot going on, and sometimes waiting might mean that it delays my whole day, not just one patient. Or because I don't have the volume of paper that I used to have, I run out of paper, and then that's a problem. So I think that that's mConsent's kind of ace in the hole, is that there's always somebody there. I have never had to leave a message for service or support. I've never had to wait to get an answer. There's always been some kind of pretty much instantaneous solution to try to get something up and running. And I think that that is categorically makes a difference for a company that I would do business with. Because if I call and I get an automated message, or I have to go through 3 levels of support, more often than not, I'm looking for another service to cancel my contract for better service. Every day, aside from Dentrix, I would cry if my mConsent service went away.